Welcome back to You Can Understand Shakespeare. This is A Midsummer Night's Dream. You have absolutely everything you need to understand this text because it's all right here in front of you, so long as you have the 3 P's. That's keeping in mind that this is poetry. It was made to be performed, and you need to have a little bit of pre-knowledge, at least as much as Shakespeare footnotes can help with that. So we're going to enter right in encountering this, not analyzing it, not doing your homework for you if you're listening for a class, but simply so that we can encounter the text on its own terms and decipher it in real time. So here is Act 1, Scene 1 of A Midsummer Night's Dream. Enter Theseus. He is the Duke, the ruler of Athens. Often thought of as sort of the intelligence center as opposed to a more, let's say, military Sparta is the way you can begin to think of it. So Theseus, as the Duke of Athens, is a very wise and cunning leader. He's the one who defeated the Minotaur in mythology. Enters with Hippolyta. She's the queen of the Amazons. Amazons, warrior women, and she is their queen. She is betrothed to Theseus, meaning Theseus and Hippolyta are going to get married. And they enter with Philostrati, who is the master of the revels. Revels, think of revelry. So he is the one who is in charge of parties and festivity at the court of Theseus. So Theseus enters and says, "Now, fair Hippolyta, beautiful, our nuptial hour draws on apace." Nuptial meaning wedding. The time of their wedding is drawing apace. It is pacing, it is walking nearer, it is drawing close. 4 happy days brings in another moon. But oh, methinks how slow this old moon wanes. So 4 happy days, 4 days will bring in another moon, meaning that another time will come in, perhaps the new moon or the old moon. And he says, oh, this is how slow the old moon wanes. The old moon is moving too slow. She lingers my desires. Lingers, think of delaying fulfillment. So my desires are being made to linger. They're sticking around, like to a stepdame or a dowager long withering out a young man's revenue. So just like a stepdame, a stepmother, or a dowager is withering out a young man's revenue, is using up the inheritance that would go to their heir by living on too long, the moon is lasting too long. In other words, he is impatient for his wedding day to arrive. This old moon is taking too slow. Hippolyta answers, 4 days will quickly steep themselves in night. Think of steep being like a plunge into something. The days will quickly plunge in night. 4 nights will quickly dream away the time. And then the moon, like to a silver bow now bent in heaven, shall behold the night of our solemnities. So the moon will become like a silver bow, will become a crescent moon. She's talking about how fast the time is going to pass. The days will quickly be night, night will dream away, and pretty soon it'll be the night of our solemnity. A solemnity is the highest possible party that you can have. Think of a solemnity in the Catholic Church is the highest feast day. The night of their solemnity will be their wedding. So Theseus sends Philostrati, go Philostrati, stir up the Athenian youth to merriments. Awake the pert and nimble spirit of mirth. Turn melancholy forth to funerals. The pale companion is not for our pomp. Those are all orders to go start the party. Stir up the Athenian youth to merriments. Have them be merry. Have them start to party. Awake the pert and nimble spirit of mirth. Mirth being joy, happiness. Turn melancholy forth to funerals. We don't want any melancholy here. Send it off to some funeral. The pale companion, melancholy, sadness, is not for our pomp. Think of pomp and circumstance. The name of the song played at graduations. Pomp has to do with a party. It's time to start partying, even though the wedding is 4 days away. And Philostrati, the master of the revels, exactly the person who should go get this party started, goes. Theseus then addresses his betrothed. He says, Hippolyta, I wooed thee with my sword, and won thy love doing thee injuries. But I will wed thee in another key, with pomp, with triumph, and with revelring. So we hear a little bit of their backstory here. Hippolyta, I wooed thee with my sword. Hippolyta, remember, is queen of the Amazons. So reading this, we can tell that Theseus actually maybe conquered the Amazons, fought them, and wooed her, as in sort of won her, with his sword, with conquest. After all, he is the ruler of Athens. She is the ruler of the Amazons. A good way to assure peace between these two people who had been warring is in a marriage. He says, I won thy love doing thee injuries, meaning he captured her. I was doing an injury upon you. But I will wed thee in another key. Think like a musical key, where that may have been a minor sad chord. This would be a jolly key, with pomp, with triumph, public festivities, and with reveling. So turning the tide, that is in the past, it is no longer their current state. They are now time for partying. Now, there's a lot that you could really unpack here, which is why it's going to be the last thing that we really unpack at the end of this particular reading. There's a number of ways you can read this. The first one is that this is just at face value true. They fought, he conquered her people, and she was offered as a bride. I once saw a production where Hippolyta was literally in a cage for this, where they made it very clear that she was being wed against her will. Now, Hippolyta said that 4 days will quickly steep themselves in night. 4 nights will quickly dream away the time, and the moon, like to a silver bow, now bent in heaven, shall behold the night of our solemnities. That doesn't sound like she's being held against her will. Keep in mind that Hippolyta is the queen of the Amazons. She very well could love that Theseus is a spectacular warrior. It could be that in defeating her people, she finally recognized someone who was perhaps worthy of her, have to beat her in combat in order to woo her heart. So it's very possible that for Amazon fighters, think, for example, Wonder Woman is an Amazon, that you have to be a really good fighter in order to impress them. And perhaps that's how, in fact, he loved her, doing her injuries. Another way you can think about this is that Shakespeare loves to put in some various innuendos. So wooing someone with his sword could be a metaphor for something. Last of all, I won thy love, doing thee injuries. Something to think about here. This whole idea of love from injuries. After all, we are going to be seeing not Cupid himself, but rather the effects of his arrow. And we're going to be seeing love come from injury. We're going to see wooing come from pain. This is a comedy where there's going to be a lot of trouble before there are weddings, especially for Theseus and Hippolyta. They're probably going to have the easiest time of it. So there's a lot really kind of happening there, and Theseus and Hippolyta's wedding frames this entire story. Now, we're about to meet some of the lovers, but we are going to do that in the next episode. So thank you so much for listening, and I hope you enjoy the play.